in accordance with the Freedom of Information Act, the media has been notified and a quorum is present. At this time, before we go forward with the meeting, I'd like to make a presentation to our outgoing chairman. If you would stand up here with me, Mr. McIntyre. Trustee McIntyre has done a wonderful job. He is always prepared, and he has been a joy to work with on these past number of years on this board, and I think we all owe him a round of applause and appreciation.
My honor and privilege.
You have a copy of the minutes from the November 5th meeting. Are there any corrections or additions?
Move that be accepted as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Approved. This time we'll begin our committee reports. The Executive Affairs Committee met and no action was taken. This time I'd like to call on Trustee Bunch for our Academic Affairs report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. President, the rest of the board. Thank you for allowing me to talk with you today. We had a great meeting today, wonderful attendance, and we started with Dr. Flanagan and her report. She has been re-elected faculty chair for another year. Congratulations to her. I know she'll do a great job. She gave us a very detailed report on the provost search, which began last fall. She has stated 3 candidates for this post have been selected, and each will be visiting the campus in the coming weeks. We look forward to upcoming reports about that and a successful search for the new provost for Francis Marion. Following her report, we had a report from Dr. King, the associate provost. It stated that spring started this year with 3,269 students at Francis Marion. Also stated by last Friday, 3,330 freshman applications have been received by the college. 1,849 have been accepted already, slightly ahead of this time last year, so that's very good news. 11 students were interviewed for the McNair Scholarship. 3 have accepted the offers that have been extended to them. In the process of other academic scholarships and determining if others will be other scholarships will be extended. Offers will be made in early April with a deadline of April 29. Open houses are being held currently. Remaining events March 5th and April 9th for incoming students. In December, great news here, 351 students received degrees at the commencement exercise. That's 257 undergraduates and 97 graduates, which is 46 more than last year, so congratulations there. The Financial Aid Office is now processing freshman applications, and there's been a slight increase in the federal Pell Grant for those students that qualify for that. And then finally, we had a report from Dr. Chapman for the provost. Very extensive. If you'd like to see this is great reading material you can take home with you. It's very thick of lots of things that are going on at our school, so thank you for that great report. But out of this, I just want to say that we're very proud of the faculty for what they do for our students in the classroom, for the service they provide to these students and to our community. In the field of research, very exciting things are going on, conferences that are being attended by both staff and students. And as Dr. Chapman said, it's increasing the level of professionalism here on our campus. So thank you very much. And we even had, I think, a new species of snake found in Ecuador by one of our faculty members. So wow, so congratulations to them. And so if you'd like to get a copy of this, and I suggest you do, very exciting things with books, research, all kind of things that our faculty is doing in their fields of study, and I'm very proud of their accomplishments as well. And then just finally, we do want to say I'm the first in a long line of people to say goodbye to a very good friend to our school. And so Dr. Chapman, again, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure chairing this committee, and you have made our jobs very, I would not say always easy, but very informative. So thank you again. So that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bunch. Any questions? Okay, thank you. This time I'd like to ask on Trustee Elmore to give the Development Alumni Report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The Development Alumni Committee met prior to the board meeting. We received a report from Vice President of Development, Darrell Bridges. Julian Young is at the PAC Center this afternoon preparing for the Alumni Awards reception this evening, which begins at 6. 6. The reception begins at 6, and then the award ceremony, I think, starts at 6:30. So I'd encourage all of the board to make every effort to attend. Friday, March 18th is the Chairman's Classic Golf Tournament at CCSC, weather permitting. We're certainly hoping for better weather than we had last year, and we're looking for a big turnout. The athletic auction is scheduled for the March 24th at the PAC. Already got lots of great items in for auction, and again would encourage everyone to participate in that. On Tuesday, March 29th at 6 o'clock at Smith University Center will be the Education Foundation Scholarship Reception. This is where the scholarship recipients get to meet the donors. It's a wonderful event, and some of the recipients will be highlighted at that time. Arts International Festival will be held downtown again this year for the second time on Saturday, April the 9th, jointly presented by Francis Marion and the city of Florence. It was a great turnout last year, I think one of the largest we've ever had, and look forward to that event again. Homecoming was recently held, sponsored jointly by FMU Athletics, Student Affairs, and the Office of Alumni Affairs. We had the first ever tailgating party on campus during the basketball games, which was a big hit. I think other tailgatings are being planned for other athletic events, including basketball and perhaps baseball in the future. Alumni Affairs sponsored the Patriot Fest, the Family Game Area, Hospitality Tent, and the tailgating groups. In the words of President Carter, I think I wrote this down correctly, Fred, great homecoming. Since our last meeting, the Alumni Award receptions were held for the Biology School of Education and the School of Business. Again, the Alumni Association award ceremonies are tonight. There are a lot of young alumni millennials who are becoming more involved in the Alumni Association. They're very engaged. They're volunteering at the university for all different sorts of activities. And then finally, if you will go to the university's website, there's a news section there just for alumni. I think you'll find it interesting. It's much easier to communicate with all the alumni members. Happy to entertain any questions. If not, that's my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Financial Affairs and Facilities, Trustee Jones.
Good afternoon, Chairman Jackson. Good afternoon, everyone. The Financial Affairs and Facility Committee met this afternoon. I think we had 100% participation, and we were joined by Jay Kispert, Vice President of Business Affairs. At this time, I'd ask you to turn to your budget summary. Hopefully everybody has a copy of that. And this will basically just be a brief update as opposed to our last update given by Dr. Dozier on November the 5th. A couple things that I would point out to you. Spring tuition revenue totaled $16,095,000, just short of our $16.2 million budget. 96% of our total general fund revenue has been received year to date. Total anticipated revenue budget is $87 million, and year to date revenue received is $69.8 million. General fund expenditures noted below are progressing as anticipated, with approximately 55% of our budget expended at the time of this report, with 42% of the year remaining at the time of this report. On the next page, relating to headcount, Our total employee head count sits at 494 and FTE at about 441. 4-year change is 5 in the head count and just over 5 in FTE. On the next page, as it relates to financial aid, since our last report, estimates at this time note that financial aid awards will increase $4 million for the year 15-16 over the year 14-15. This increase is primarily attributable to the anticipated amount of loans that students will take on. A couple other things that have been going on as it relates to facilities, and I'll keep this brief as I understand that Dr. Carter is going to speak to some facilities in his report. But a couple things. We're about 6 or 7 months into our contract with Aramark, which is the food vendor, and we'll have a chance to sample some of their food tonight at our reception. I think so far that's going pretty well. A few little hiccups here and there, but nothing too significant. They've opened a new store in the old Irvin Dining Hall called Provisions on Demand, which I think is a type of a grocery store, but that seems to be doing pretty well. We also now have a Starbucks on campus, which is over by the Larimore Auditorium, and that seems to be staying pretty busy as well. There also have been a number of new measures as it relates to security around campus, and I also think that Dr. Carter is going to speak to that in his report as well. If anyone has any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. If not, that concludes our report.
Thank you. Student Affairs and Athletics, Jody Bryson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. President, fellow trustees. The Student Affairs and Athletics Committee met today at 4 o'clock. Our Vice President, Teresa Ramey, is under the weather, so she could not be with us, but Daphne Carter McCants filled in for her and did an excellent job. She reported to us that Leadership FMU had another successful class. They concluded last November and had 29 recognized for program completion. At that ceremony, Dr. Jennifer Evans, who is a Leadership FMU alum from the class of 2008, received the Leadership Legacy Alumni Award. Congratulations to her. Career Connections continue to be a strong resource for our students who are involved with the program. It's being offered again this spring and is actually offered in both semesters during the school year. Freshman Focus program got underway this month. This program is in its 3rd year, and it provides our first-year students with personal development skills and also lines them up with a mentor to help them acclimate to the college experience. Currently, 17 students are participating in that and 17 mentors. The International Holocaust Remembrance Day was acknowledged through the Multicultural Advisory Board on January 27th, and they had a guest speaker from the community. And also the University Programming Board held a diversity and inclusion event on February 18th with a guest speaker as well. We were also happy to have our student government president, Samuel Smoot, give a report, and Frank, you'll be pleased to know that he also thought homecoming was a great success and said that the student body really enjoyed the tailgate as well. And he reminded us that student body executive committee elections and other elections will be coming up in March. And I should note that Samuel will be graduating in May, and we wish him the very best. He's considering several postgraduate options and has not made a final decision yet, but we know he'll be successful in whatever path he chooses after commencement, which is coming up quickly. Moving on to athletics, the spring sports season is in full swing, and Murray gave us a great report today. He wanted me to let you know that the fall GPA for our student athletes was 2.92 last semester, higher than the student body GPA of 2.4, and nearly half of our student athletes were named to the Swamp Fox Club as academic award recipients with a 3.0 GPA or higher. So congratulations on that. 2 new members of the Francis Marion Athletic Hall of Fame were inducted at homecoming. a former volleyball and basketball standout, Mary Jackson, from the class of '92, and a former distance runner, Michael Kolokavo, I believe, from '92. So congratulations to them. In terms of basketball, the women's program has orchestrated one of the biggest turnarounds in the country under first-year coach Jerry Porter, going from a 20-loss season a year ago to a 20-plus win season this year. And they are, I think at most recent note, third place in the Peach Belt Conference East Division standings, and very much in the running for an NCAA national tournament berth. And then I understand last night the men's basketball team had a furious comeback victory, which turned out to be basically a play-in game to get into the conference tournament. So congratulations to them and that big win last night. We will, in tennis, for the 4th consecutive year, we will host the Peach Belt Conference men's and women's tennis tournaments in April. And for the first time ever, Francis Marion will serve as the host to the Peach Belt Conference baseball tournament, May 11th through the 15th, here at our wonderful, outstanding facility. So Murray's going to have a busy rest of the school year, to say the least, but that's quite a coup to have that baseball tournament come here. And Dr. Carter, he mentioned your strong support for that, so we appreciate that. So all in all, it was a very good report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have at this time.
Good. Thank you.
No, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. That ends our committee reports. I'd like to hear from Dr. Carter now for the President's report.
Mr. Chairman, trustees, I'll move through this pretty quickly. It's a bit of a laundry list of things I just want to mention and cover to make sure that the board's fully informed. We talked very, very briefly about campus security. Mr. Elmore did. Let me follow up on that. We did. I think I gave the board a brief at the last meeting about some of the things that we had done to this point. Expanded the siren system across campus. Enhanced the armaments on the part of campus police. We've added police dispatchers. We've essentially installed locks on the inside of all classroom buildings across campus. And what we've done since the last meeting, Mr. Kispert and his wonderful staff have installed more than 70 cameras across campus. So I think almost every major corridor in every academic building is now covered by camera views, which are monitored out of the police dispatch office on campus. I'm very comfortable with some of the things that we've done over the last 6 months. We also, senior staff, had a major exercise in January. We spent the morning working with a number of law enforcement agencies around us. They came in, SLED facilitated an exercise which simulated a critical incident on campus, and we all worked through that together. It was, I think, not only very productive for senior staff, but it was very, very productive for those law enforcement entities that will be first responders on campus should something occur. The provost has worked on setting up a workshop for the faculty and staff in May. We'll bring in that same Captain Wayne Friedman from SLED, who quite honestly has become almost a national expert in dealing with campus critical event situations. And we'll ask Captain Friedman to come in and provide morning and afternoon workshops to those faculty and staff who are able to attend during the course of that day. Let me move on to our speech pathology program. It's our efforts to secure the appropriation are selling through the budget process. At the same time, on a parallel course, we're seeking the CAG approval for that degree program. I'm hoping those two parallel courses will end up at the same place by the time we get to the summer, and we'll have CAG approval for the speech pathology program at the same time that we have a recurring appropriation to begin developing the program. Again, if everything goes the way we planned it at this point, we would look at beginning that speech pathology program in 2018, roughly 2.5 years down the road. We have hired an institutional effectiveness director. I think Mr. Provost, Dr. Cecil McManus will begin, I think, next week, doesn't he? Yeah. That'll be an enormous assistance, I think, to the schools and to the departments across campus. We'll have somebody with enormous experience in developing student learning outcomes, criteria, and the like. I think that'll be very, very, I think, beneficial to the entire campus. I also think it'll help us a lot on the various accreditation processes we go through, not just SACs, but also the specialized accreditation for business and education and many nursing and many of the other disciplines on campus. Mr. Bryson, Trustee Bryson mentioned a few minutes ago that our student government president, Sammy Smoot, is in fact graduating at the end of the semester. He still has, however, 4 more months before he graduates, and we intend to work him hard during those 4 months. But I want to pause here and talk for a second about those wonderful things that Sammy's done this year. One of the things Sammy decided to do very early on in the school year was make organizational leadership a critical part of his legacy here. So he's worked with the club and organization presidents across campus, enhancing their leadership skills during the course of the year. And I want you to know it's not simply a process. I would have all of you note that this year we've not had a single major incident with any club or organization on campus. I don't think that's coincidental. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that our student body president, our student government president, has worked hard with the leadership of those clubs and organizations, making them stronger and making their leadership stronger. I'll also tell you that Sammy this year has began a series of public forums with students across campus, and he's began essentially a series of town hall meetings, which I think have been very well received and been very, very productive. Sammy, I couldn't be more proud of you, my friend. You've done a great job as student government leader. Thank you. Now let me move on and talk about another friend. Becky Flanagan was in fact reelected for a 4th term as chair of the faculty, but as Becky's wont to do, very quickly she began a revision of the bylaws of the faculty, okay? And Becky's hard at work on that, as well as many other things related to shared governance on this campus. One of the things I'll ask Becky to do with the board concurrence is at the August retreat of the board, we'll ask Becky to come in and talk to the board about the bylaws and faculty constitution. The board hadn't had a brief on that in maybe a decade. So it would be terrific, I think, asking Becky to come in and give us an overview on some of the changes in place now and where we're going with many of those faculty governance issues. And by the way, congratulations to Becky for a 4th term as chair of the faculty. And of course, she was just reelected, so we have a full year for Becky to continue to work as chair of the faculty. Let me talk very briefly about our nursing program. Dr. Ruth Whitman Price and our nursing faculty have decided that they're going to try to develop with the National League of Nursing a Center for Excellence in Nursing on this campus, a national center for excellence. We're very excited about that. And we'll, I guess, Ms. Provost, over the next month to 6 weeks, we'll have nursing consultants on campus to work with us, trying to enhance essentially our metrics, our data, to be able to vie more competitively for that Center for Excellence. If we're able to achieve that, that'll be another marvelous accolade for an already strong program. I think most of you know in this room, we say this over and over again, it's not hyperbole. Our nursing program is the strongest nursing program in the state. Achieving that Center of Excellence will make that program even more strong and even more visible regionally and nationally. So we're very, very proud of that effort. We went last week, we had a walk through the health sciences facility. It's a beautiful building. It's a gorgeous building. It's coming up quickly, more quickly than anything else downtown. But let me not not dwell on that. The contractors, the architects have done a wonderful job. It's not quite ready yet to take people through it on an ongoing basis, but what I'd like to do with the board, if the board's amenable, late March, early April, we'll set a time, we'll all meet for lunch, maybe downtown, and then we'll take a tour through the health sciences facility at that time. And Melissa, we'll invite the Morning News to go through with us then. I think all of you will be very appreciative of the quality of workmanship that the architects and contractors have put into that facility. We're very, very proud of that. And finally, Mr. Chairman, I would remind everybody of the Alumni Affairs event tonight. We've said over and over again, but the alumni are the lifeblood of this institution. They're the folks we look at to really be reminded of the success we have in producing graduates out of here. And I would be remiss if I didn't just dwell on one other topic that's already been discussed. Those basketball games last night. You know, I don't know if sports is really a metaphor for life, okay? I think Murray could give us an hour lecture on that, okay? I'll spare you that right now. But I will tell you this. Those teams last year were not very good. And this year, as a result of strong coaching and strong leadership, those teams essentially turned their season around. And things like that remind me of the other reason we're here besides education. A big part of what we do are educate the men and women on this campus. The other thing we do, all of us do, faculty, staff, trustees, administration, we instill confidence in these young men so that they have confidence in themselves. What occurred last night were a men and women's team who struggled all last year and struggled during much of this year to find their place, found it. They had confidence in themselves, they had confidence in their coaching, and God love it, we're going to the Peach Belt Conference. In truth, those men and women had a wonderful night, and for the first time, at least in my 17 years here, I saw a court rush from the stands. That's worth holding on to. That's the end of my report, Mr. Chairman.
So are we going to get a Peach Belt fine for that?
Well, if we do, I'll gladly pay it myself.
Y'all heard it. Thank you very much. I don't believe we have any unfinished business. Is there any new business anyone has? We do not need an executive session for any reason, so that leads us to the end of our agenda. So unless there are any objections, we'll stand adjourned.
Thank you.